Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Olivia and this is my channel where I love to talk about all things nail polish. First, I am back. I thank you all so much for the well wishes on I've been sick, if you can't tell from my voice. It's been, oh goodness, maybe about 8 or 9 days at this point that I've been dealing with like cold, bronchitis, something like that. And it got to a point where I'm like, oh, you know what? I should probably post a message on the channel so you all don't think that I just like up and disappear. And so touching to see all the messages from you all wishing me well. I am, this is unfortunately not my first rodeo with bronchitis ever. When I tend to catch it, it will tend to linger for a while. Thankfully, I'm at the point now where I have a little bit more life in me. I'm not stuck in bed all day, but as you can probably hear from my voice, it's still, I'm not yet back to 100%, but I have missed you all. Woo, that is some loud thunder. So anyway, let's focus on what we're doing today. So if you couldn't tell from the t-shirt that I'm wearing, this is a music themed video. And Polish Pickup, the monthly collaboration, or one of the monthly collaborations for indie makers, especially for nail polish, is coming up later this week. And the theme for this month's PPU is album covers. Now, I still will be making my typical Did I Nail It video for PPU. That'll be posted later this week. But while I was sick, I was still like lurking on nail polish forums and like Facebook and Reddit and so on. And I saw quite a number of people who expressed their disappointment and how albums that they personally liked were not being represented in the inspiration that makers chose for this month's PPU. In particular, I know there's quite a bit of call out about, hey, why are there so many Taylor Swift themed ones? I will say, I'm a huge Swiftie. I actually have some Swiftie merch behind me here. I don't know if any of y'all I can't point for to save my life. Okay, that I'll talk more about that stuff in the other PPU video, but I do understand how if you're not a fan of her, it can be like, oh my goodness, I cannot get away from her. So anyway, I saw those comments and I thought, what better way to kind of not address that sounds way serious, but like what better way to kind of make something positive out of the disappointment that some of you might be feeling and seeing the PPU listings than to show you how I might go about creating nail polish combinations from some of my favorite albums. And also I think this is, another great benefit of this is that it gives you another opportunity to focus on exploring the nail polishes that you already own instead of going out and feeling that you need to buy new ones. Okay, so because I have not been here in a while and also because I love music, I decided to just go big, and there's going to be 10 different layering combinations that I'm going to show you all today. And I had a lot of fun experimenting with these. There were some that, like, when I knew, say for example, I'm like, okay, I know I've got a vision in my mind of what kind of layering combination is going to work to remind me of this album. But then when I did it, it was like the vision was not there. And so I was a little disappointed, but then I thought, okay, this is actually going to give me an opportunity to see what else I can come up with that might be even better. And there are some where I'm just like, why have I not been wearing this as a combination, just in general, completely outside of the album cover inspiration. So I'm very excited to show you all this. Also, okay, let's talk about this. Pitbull, Dale, Mr. 305, Mr. Worldwide. I'm a huge Pitbull fan. Love him. Like, I saw him on a couple years ago. He went on what's called the Trilogy Tour with Ricky Martin and Enrique Iglesias. Y'all, Okay. I am somebody who, like, I was looking at Pitbull jumping up and down that whole time, and I'm thinking, how does this man, like, not have, how are his knees not in pain right now? Like, my knees are hurting seeing Pitbull do that now. And like I've mentioned that before, that I take dance classes twice a week. Unfortunately, not this week because I'm still recovering, and I also don't want to get my classmates sick, so I'm staying home. There are times when choreography will call for, like, do a little hop or do a jump, and there's ways to kind of like fake the jump where you like lift up on your toes, but you lift up and like your heels are up, your toes are on the ground. That was not what was happening with Pitbull. This man was like jumping. So yeah, he puts on an amazing show. If you are ever looking for a nice, fun show that's just gonna make you feel happy, even if you don't know all his music, I highly recommend Pitbull. And one last little chit-chatty thing before we get into the swatching. I mentioned a couple videos ago that I had gotten a new job, and so today was the first day at my new job. Woo! It's fully remote, so it was great that I was able to like still be present and still start like onboarding and everything, meet with my team virtually without having to like be in person and without having to worry about getting other people sick and so on, but still take the time that I needed throughout the day to like rest and everything, because I still am feeling a little bit just like the energy is not fully there. I'm still feeling a little bit like dizzy and disoriented because of like the head cold and stuff, but I will say that it was, being sick for this past week, I thought that my last week at my previous job was going to be full of me being like, having to kind of think, oh, what am I going to be feeling as I'm closing one chapter and going into another? Y'all, I let me tell you, when you are as sick as I was last week, ain't none of that was even on my mind. I was just like, why am I sick? What is going on? And thankfully I was still able to like jump on some video calls here and there and say some farewells to some of the people who mattered the most to me. But new chapter, new beginnings. I'm really excited for this. I'll probably tell you all a little bit more about that in videos to come if you're curious about like the kind of work that I do or anything like that. But okay, this has been like a nearly 10-minute long intro. I am so sorry. I've been away for a while and I just miss you all so much. So let's go ahead and get into some swatching. First, I want to begin with a quick look at what's on my nails. As I mentioned, today was my first day at my new job, and so I knew I wanted to wear a color that is like a power color for me, something that would make me feel very confident and extra confident, you could say. And also, one of the benefits of working from home is that I can wear glittery nail polish and no one really sees that it's glittery because it's not coming up that close in detail on Zoom or anything like that. So I mean, okay, here's what we got going on here. The main star of the show is this gorgeous red polish from Monarch Lacquer called Murder, She Wrote. Unfortunately, this is it was a limited edition polish that's no longer available. So what I've been doing to kind of prolong the life of it a bit, and especially knowing that it takes a few coats to build up to fuller opacity, I actually started with one coat of a like darker red polish. In this case, crack polish is Crimson Ecstasy. So I do one coat of this and then one coat of this on top of it, and it just I love the sparkle here. So that's a tip that I have for any of you who may also be in the boat of where you've got certain polishes that you love and you want to ration them. So figure out what you can do to use it more sparingly but still get the same effect that you're looking for. Okay, so let's go into our first album cover. This one, and by the way, I decided to, because I can't possibly try to order these by like which ones do I like the most. Oh, that's what you call it, rank them. There we go. I can't try to rank them. So I decided to do them in alphabetical order by album title. The first one up is Either Or by Elliott Smith. This one, I fell in love with this album back when I was in college, actually. If any of you can recall back in the day when, if you were living in the college dorm and there's like the iTunes library sharing feature, basically, you know, you get on your dorm's Wi-Fi, you poke around and see, you can listen to other people's music, and there was someone who lived in my dorm who was a huge Elliott Smith fan. I'd never heard of him before, but I listened to all of his albums, and the one that I most fell in love with was Either Or. It's very like moody, feels like a fall album to me, and so because of that, I thought, you know, the album cover itself has like a nice sepia tone to it, but I also want to really reflect that in the polishes that I'm gonna combine together here. So I'm starting with this one from Cracked called Any Hoosers, which I know I've used this at least once before in a duping video, but I still have not gotten around to like wearing it on its own. As I was looking at this, I just felt like I like where Any Hoosers is sitting generally, but I just felt like I wanted to do something to switch it up a bit. So I would encourage all of you who are, you know, following along, if you're wanting to create some layering combinations from your favorite albums, something I would especially encourage you to do, see if you have any kind of polishes like this in your collection, some that you're just like, you know you bought it for a reason, but yet it's not fully working for you, but you also don't want to de-stash it. You know what I mean? So maybe that could be a good starting point. So then what I decided to do to maybe give this a different kind of vibe, but still keep the whoa, there's a lot of thunder happening. I just saw lightning. To keep the same overall essence is to apply a like orangish colory shimmer on top of it. This is one that I mixed up myself using a shimmer pigment from Glitter Unique. And so let me show you how this looks. So I've started so far with 2 coats of Any Hoosers, and now I'm gonna put on this orange shimmer here. And you know, as with any kind of shimmer topper, you want to be mindful about like how much you're putting on. Like you see, like I haven't gone back to the bottle for this. Like I'm really just evening out the amount that was on the brush that I picked up, because like while I do want to have like a shimmery effect here, I also don't want it to be the case that I have put on so much shimmer that it like takes away from like Any Hoosers. So I'm gonna let this sit and dry for a bit, and then I'll be back for the final portion of this. Okay, it's pretty dry, so the last thing I want to do is add a topper to it. For some of these where like I said in the intro, where I went back and forth on a few different ideas, I do want to talk you through some of the other options that I considered and why I decided to go against them. One of the types of toppers that I thought about putting on here that would really align well with this overall sepia vibe that's in the Either Or album cover would be to put a scattered gold hollow topper on this, or even like a gold reflective glitter topper. And because I thought like it's sepia, it's kind of warm, like maybe this could add some more warmth in. But I've got to say, I think that putting that in, the gold started to stand out too much to me in a way where I'm like, I still want this to feel to me like it's connected to this album cover, and also to some extent my feeling and interpretation of that album. And like, if any of you have listened to Elliott Smith, or especially Either Or, that's not a sparkly gold album, you know, that's just not the vibe. And so I wanted something that would work well here, and I thought, okay, I need to ground it a bit more. I need to make this a little bit, it's funny, I'm about to say I need to make it darker, because what I did here was making it lighter, but let me show you what I did. So oh surprise, what do we have here? crack polish, mascara flakes. By the way, I'm still waiting on, I think I just have one or two more black flake toppers to get in the mail, and then I'm gonna have all the ones that I need to do my like mega black flake topper comparison video. So those of you who've been waiting for that, don't worry, it's still gonna happen. I came across a couple of others that I didn't know about before, so I want it to be super thorough. So that will be coming soon. So here we go. This is okay. You know, when I put this combination together, I was like, what? Like this, like while Any Hoosers on its own is not, like I mentioned, it doesn't work for me on its own, but like this does. This just gives that, like, I love how the mascara flakes topper is breaking up that shimmer topper that I put over it. Oh, this, I often mention on this channel, I am someone who often does not wear brown nail polish, but this combination here is something that would make me like want to do that. Okay, and as is tradition on this channel, whenever I have something that's a little bit like extra, like I wouldn't say sparkly, but a little bit more festive, I always say it's something that's going to the club. Okay, this is a potato that is a goth that is going to the club. Like, and I just relate to that in so many ways. Like it wants to be a little shiny, a little, you know, woo, but it's also got the black flakes in there, and I just love this. And it really does remind me of the vibe of the Either Or album cover. So yeah, I will, another logistics thing. So I'm gonna save all of the like other lighting footage for at the end of the video once I've done all of these. So if you are wanting to see any of these in the other lighting, just know that I'll have that time stamped so you can easily jump to that as needed. The next album that I've chosen is Kaskade's Fire and Ice. One of my favorite music genres is EDM, electronic dance music, and Kaskade is definitely my favorite DJ. I have seen him perform live maybe 6-7 times over the years. Always have a blast. And I think my favorite album of his is Fire and Ice because of the concept of it. It's a double album, and the way it's set up is that you've got all so like on the fire side of it, you've got the songs listed there, and they have a fire version, and then the songs repeat on the second part of it in the ice version in the exact same order. And I remember when that album was coming out and Kaskade was doing promo for it, he explained how the concept is the fire side of the album represents like the playlist that you would listen to as you and your friends are on your way going out to the club, much like the goth potato going to the club. And then the ice side represents the playlist that you would have when you and your friends it's like the end of the night and you all are going back home and it's late and you're just tired. And I just love that. So as much as I talk about like things going to the club, it's because that used to be my lifestyle, but now I just kind of listen to the music and stay home and be cozy and stuff. So anyway, so for this, with as color shifty as this album cover is, I knew I wanted to have something that would reflect that, and absolutely right away went to figuring out this has got to be a multi-chrome. And the multi-chrome that I chose is from Alchemy Lacquers. It's called Defiant. And pro tip for extending the life of your multi-chromes, what I personally do is I start with one coat of a black cream polish. I use Bee's Knees Lacquer Void, and then I do just one coat of the multi-chrome on top of that. And you end up getting pretty much the same kind of result that you would if you were to build this up on its own in like 2 or 3 coats. So this to me is like representing that background there with the color shiftiness, and also, to a certain extent, it kind of makes me think of the fire concept of it. So then the one aspect of, or the next aspect of layering that I wanted to do for this would be to add in some kind of silver topper that was going to represent ice. And one of the options that I initially thought about doing for this was Polish Molish's Finding Home. And you see the vision there? It's like, it looks very icy. And while I do love this for this topper for giving me an icy vibe in other manicures, I felt that it was actually, in this case, overwhelming the multi-chrome polish underneath. So that's what led me to believe I needed to do something a little bit more subtle. So then I thought about this one from Crack Polish, a silver flake topper called A Sprinkle of Twinkle. You can see how this here, it's like a silver flake topper that it's not like as big as the Polish Molish one, but it still does give you some like silver glitz. I thought about this one because I've had a lot of great success with using this for other similar scenarios, but it was still too big for my purposes. So then I thought, okay, let's do a silver reflective glitter topper. You know, you can never go wrong with that. As you can see, I've used up about half of the amount that I've portioned into this homemade one here. But this, it also wasn't the right fit for me because I wasn't getting as much silver as I wanted to see there. And so that's what led me to end up with going with what I'm going to show you, Crack Polishes with Sugar on Top, which is, you know, one that I like to use for times where I don't necessarily need it to be like light reflective sparkle, but what I'm looking for is like dainty sparkle that is still very visibly silver. So here we go. Also, I don't know if y'all can hear that rain that's coming down, but oh my goodness, it is loud. Okay. And so this is the end result here. My camera is still not focusing in the way that I want it to, but hopefully I can get that figured out as I go along. What you can see here is exactly what I was hoping to have here to represent this album cover. This color shiftiness that's going on in the background, the shadows and the side that you can see from the multi-chrome, but then also just enough sparkle on there to feel like, ooh, it's like snowfall on the nail. So yeah, if you're looking for a fun like dance album to listen to, I recommend Fire and Ice while wearing a nail like this. The next album cover that I chose is Hail to the Thief by Radiohead. This album was probably the soundtrack of my the summer after I finished my freshman year of college, and I had I don't think I had discovered Radiohead until I was in college, and then Hail to the Thief was the first album of theirs that came out after I became a fan and had listened to their back catalog. And you know, beyond that, it still is, I think, for me, just start to finish, one of their best albums. And I love the album cover. It has this just beautiful moodiness with the like blue in the background, but then also you've got this rainbow color patchwork that's all throughout. And I looked at this and thought, there's so many things I want to do with this. Do I want to focus more on the blue aspect of this? Do I want to do the rainbow? And then, okay, so another piece of advice that I have for y'all who are maybe also wanting to figure out which of your favorite album covers you want to make layering combinations for, go through your untried polishes and you will find some hidden gems in there. This one that I have came from my untried pal. It's Jen and Berry's Where's My Damn Chocolate, which, okay, mood, love that. I bought this, I think, from Jen and Berry's Black Friday sale of like their like mystery overpours, I think. And I just hadn't gotten around to wearing it. But then as I was looking through, as I was planning this video, and then I was looking through my untried pile, I'm like, oh, this is perfect for like that background that's on the Hail to the Thief album cover. So I knew that I had that. And then it was from there, it was like a no-brainer for me. I knew what I needed to put on top of that. And this is ILMP's Confetti, which is a rainbowy like micro flake topper. And once again, with using toppers, you know, remember that a little bit does tend to go a long way, and you don't need to always like super pile on too much to get the effect that you want. But I think, let me see, is this my favorite? I don't know if this is like my favorite one from this video, but like this combination is absolutely one that I like, my jaw dropped when I saw the result here, because it's just amazing how, like, I really liked Where's My Damn Chocolate on its own, but then when I saw how sorry if you're hearing the rain, it currently sounds like I'm inside of a car wash. If you all are not hearing the thunder and rain, that's a good thing, but if you are, you'll understand what I'm saying. It sounds like I'm in a car wash right now. Okay, as I was saying, the simple addition of a topper like this, it just, I love the end result of this here. And it, you know, this is absolutely how I would see myself wearing Where's My Damn Chocolate, you know, once I wear it as a full manicure, because I love how these like pops of color really do bring out that that glow that's in there. And you know, one of the benefits here is that when I wear this, it'll remind me of Hail to the Thief. So, you know, that's gonna be a win-win for me. Okay, so I am a huge fan of classical music. I often will take my husband with me to go to see the Chicago Symphony Orchestra perform, and that's one of my happiest places on earth. And so I knew that I needed to include at least one classical recording here. So what we've got coming up now is one of two in this video. This one is a recording of the Planets and Boléro by the French National Orchestra. Okay, now, before I get into the polish, I need to go on a little rant real quick. So, if you've never heard Holst The Planets, but you do love movies like Interstellar, I promise you, go listen to The Planets, especially this particular recording of it. You will just fall in love. And also, I'm someone who's very particular about which recording I prefer. And I chose this one because the first movement, Mars, is one that first I learned how to play when I was in high school band. But also, the very closing part of the Mars movement, sometimes when it's performed, it's done in a way that's very, like, it rushes through it. It's like da 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 da, but I prefer this version where it's like dun dun dun, where you just feel like, oh my goodness, oh. So anyway, that is why I chose this particular recording, and also it's got Bolero on there too, so it's like bonus. Okay, so in representing this album cover in nail art, I wanted to do something that really spoke to this kind of like warm glowiness that's coming through in the illustration of the planets there. And I decided to use this polish from Lumen called Vortex. This was a limited edition PPU shade, but this kind of like glowy yellow gold polish, it's a very common combination that you'll absolutely see other makers do as well. Now, because this polish is one that can take a few coats to build up to opacity, and also to kind of like, this is one of the tricks that I use for when I'm wanting to ration a polish. What you see here on the swatch wheel, I've put it over one coat of crack polish's neutralizer. In this case, I'm using it less of like a neutralizer because, I mean, well, it's on plastic, but like more so of a blurring base coat so that I don't have to use up more of Vortex. Okay, so that's what we got so far. This, as you can see, it's very glowy. But is it glowy enough? Is it glittery enough? No. And that is where I'm bringing in Cert Colors Nectar, which gives a really lovely just glowy like shimmer on top of it. What I'll actually do is try to do like a half and half here real quick to show you the like with and without. Okay, so if you can see the difference there. So my camera's just not wanting to focus on the way that I want. But over here is without, and here is with. You get just a little bit more of that like nice sparkle in there. So let me go ahead and put on the other side of this. You know, because this you're putting this over like something that already has a great deal of its own like glowy gold shimmer. It's not gonna stand out as much to be like, oh my goodness, there was not any sparkle here at all before, but rather what it's gonna do is complement that. All right, so while this is drying, I want to talk about the options that I thought about for the final piece I'm going to put on top of this. You know, you look at the album cover and you see how there's all these like storm clouds going on in the background. And I thought, well, does that mean I want to use crack polishes, mascara flakes, which is one of my go-to polishes like I used for the first one here to give it a bit more of a darker, moodier effect. But in this case, I felt like that was going to darken it too much. And what I wanted to do was have a bit more of a better balance between having some darkness, but in a way that sparkles. And no surprise to me, I went back to cracked with sugar on top, the same one that I was just using a little bit ago. So I'll also say, you know, I was hesitant about this one because I very rarely will combine gold and silver toppers and colors like this within the same layering combination, but y'all, somehow this works. Okay, I'm gonna put just a little bit. This bottle is running a little bit low, so that's why I'm dipping back in for a little bit more. And so this is our end result. You still get that gold shimmer that we had before, but do you see how the you know, depending on the angle that you're looking at it, this of course is not going to focus the way I want it to, but do you see how, like, depending on the angle, some of these the glitter fragments from with sugar on top almost look like you put pepper on the nail. At first I was like, oh, but then I thought, no, this is actually what I want. This is giving me those little speckles of darkness that that represent the clouds and the album cover, but in a way that isn't so like overly dark. So I totally love this. And you know, fortunately with the Chicago Symphony Orchestra, the CSO, they often will, the Planets is a piece that they will frequently perform. So I think the next time they're performing this, I will probably wear this combination because, like, how could I not? Like, just look at that. Next is the La La Land soundtrack. I don't think I've mentioned it on here before, but La La Land is my favorite movie. And I was lucky last year, I forget what month it was, but sometime last year, one of the local theaters downtown was hosting a, like, I think it might have been the Chicago Philharmonic, who was doing a live performance of like La La Land in concert, you know, the kind of thing where you go, you watch the movie as it's being performed by a live orchestra, which is really cool. My husband and I, we go and do that a lot together. I don't know if this part of it was a surprise or if I just was so busy I missed the memo or something, but I didn't realize until I got there for the performance that it was going to be conducted by Justin Hurwitz, who was the composer of the La La Land score. And I was just like, oh my goodness, this is so cool. And then also I didn't realize he was going to be there afterwards signing posters. So suddenly I had to, and I stayed to do that, and I met him, and he was so kind. I'll say really quickly before I get into the layering for this that I was struggling to think, like, what do you say to the person who composed the music for your favorite movie? And I thought about it, and I thought, okay, let me speak from the heart. And when I got up there, I mentioned to him how, well, first, internally, I was thinking I was one of the few, if only, black people that I saw there that night. And but La La Land is a movie that's so much about jazz, and which has such strong roots in the Black African American history. And so I went up to Justin and thanked him for being there and his time and everything. But I also thanked him for how well he represented jazz and the roots of jazz in the movie. And I loved it because, you know, as he was doing promo for the movie, I remember him mentioning that doing that was very important to him, representing the music and the history well. And so it really meant a lot to me to see so many people after the movie came out having this renewed interest in jazz, and for Justin to do so in a way that spoke to those roots. I just, it really meant a lot to me. So this first polish I'm starting with is from Fancy Gloss, called Phantom. When I first bought this, I just thought, this is like La La Land purple. It's just so perfect for that background there. So I knew that that's what I wanted to use as our background here. And for the next part, you know, if you've seen La La Land, you know, one of the most popular songs from the movie is called City of Stars. And I wanted to represent that on here. So I'm using this topper from Familiar Polish called Snowfall. And it's got this really great combination of multiple sizes of white hex glitters. I know some of them are hex. I think some of them might be round glitters. Let's just say combination of white glitters, just to be on the safe side. Now, I will say this is a topper where a little bit goes a long way, so I always have to be very mindful of not over applying it. So you'll see what I mean. Okay. I'm just evening it out. I'm just, you know, covering up some spots here. But really, that's it. Like, because you know what, oh yeah, there's also some like blue sparkle or something in there too, which is really cool. The first few times I used this topper, I kept thinking, oh, I want to fill in this spot and that spot. My recommendation, if you're using Snowfall, if you're using this topper, just trust the process. Only do one swipe, even out if you need to, but you absolutely want to make sure that you can still see whatever color you've put behind it. Okay, so for this next part, this goes into where, like, there are times when I'm just not subtle. Y'all know how I am with glitter and stuff, right? But I thought for this one, why not be, you know, have some things that represent the poster, like really represent it, right? Okay, so so what I'm going to use here is Fancy Gloss's White Stars topper. Now, if you were to just kind of swatch this out, like, I'm just going to pull like another random swatch wheel over here that I'm using for other stuff. Like, if I were to swatch this, or like just apply this just as it is, of course you can't see this because it's white on white, but let me try this again. You know, depending on how there we go. Yeah. So for the most part, as these become more evenly distributed in here, you're gonna end up with something like this, where you've got a whole lot of stars there. And I didn't necessarily want this many on this particular layering combination. So what I decided to do instead, now that I've got some stars on the brush, I'm gonna take just like a nail art brush, and you see, I'm just gonna try to go in and grab like one right there. This can take some practice if you've never done it before. Practice and patience, I would say. Come on, get on the brush. There we go. So I've got my one star. And now I'm going to pop this down there. And suddenly we have Ryan Gosling. Okay, see See where we're going with this? Because he's wearing white in the album cover, and then yeah, okay. But and so you might be thinking, okay, Olivia, but that's just like Ryan. What are we gonna do for Emma? We've got fancy glosses, yellow stars topper. So we're gonna do the same thing because she's wearing a yellow dress. I'll also say that one time when my husband and I took a trip to LA, and he was asking me like what were some of the things that I most wanted to do, I said, well, I really want us to go to Griffith Observatory and like recreate the La La Land poster, and we did. We went there to the exact spot. We had no chill. We were and we practiced beforehand too. I was like, if we're doing this, we're practicing, and it was just so much fun to take that picture. I just love that Jack, my husband, he's just always like, we're always just down for whatever the other is like. Hey, here's this thing I want to do. You want to do it too? Cool. Okay, I'm just gonna delicately place that right there. Boom. And now we have Emma Stone. And this is the La La Land album cover. I really love this one because, this I think can be a good example of how, if not stars, if you have some other kind of like shape topper in your collection, think about ways that you can use those shapes to strategically stand in for certain concepts without you having to like if you're nail art challenge like myself, I will say if you're wanting to represent something but you don't want to necessarily have to like draw it out, something like this can be a really good visual representation. Next is Beyonce's Lemonade. I am a member of the Beehive. I knew I needed to put a Beyonce album on here, and I kind of went back and forth between like, do I prefer Renaissance over Lemonade? But then I was like, oh, Lemonade, clearly. My favorite track from that album is probably her song with Jack White, Don't Hurt Yourself. But then also whenever I've gone to see her in concerts, my song that I always just get hyped for when she performs live is Formation. I just love it. So this is one where I thought, well, Lemonade, yellow, so I could just do something yellow, right? I was actually surprised with the approach I decided to take, which is going to be a little bit different, but still, to me, scream Lemonade. I started by looking at the color of the wall in the background, and as I was going through the various blues and teals in my collection, I found I didn't have a single polish that actually matched that color, so I was stuck for a bit. But then I thought, okay, once again, go through like my untried pal, go through like my less commonly used polishes, and I came across this one from Cracked, a gray cream polish called Don't Throw Stones. I bought this one because for nail art purposes mainly, because I realized that I didn't yet have a gray cream in my collection, and I just don't wear gray like as a polish. Like it just doesn't really work for me on my skin tone, I think. But where I feel that I can get some good use out of it is going to be together with a shimmer topper. So I went through my like collection of shimmer toppers and felt that this one from Fancy Gloss would be a really good fit. This is Aqua Goddess. So let me show y'all how this looks over gray. And it's very subtle, I think, which is what I wanted. I didn't want something that was gonna be like blam, like too much in your face, but more so like what I love here is that you still get the gray underneath, but you also now have this teal glow that suddenly makes it something like, okay, I could actually see myself wearing this. We're moving in that right direction. So this is gonna be our foundation there. And then for the last piece of this, I wanted something to reflect that gold that's in there in, the center of the image with Beyonce herself, with her hair, with her outfit. And just like a few other options here in this video, I want to talk you through some of the things that I considered but opted against and why. So first, I thought Golden Starlight. It's a gold reflective glitter topper. This one, I feel, as with most reflective glitter toppers, they don't work as well over lighter backgrounds because you end up getting a little bit more of that like gritty visual texture that in this case I didn't want. So I decided to rule that out. Then I thought, well, what about a scattered gold hollow topper like Crack Polish's Truly Outrageous? This one's yellow, I thought this could be a good fit that would give me that yellow color, but without that extra grittiness. But in this case, because it's hollow, it was giving me more of a rainbow than I wanted. So I'm like, no, that's not gonna be it either. And then I was like, oh, okay, this is clearly what I need to use. The one that I ultimately decided to go with was ILMP's Party Popper. And this one is actually a combination of a gold and silver, micro flake topper. And I think that that's why this works in this case of representing Lemonade, because as much as the album cover does have gold and yellow that's there, you look and you see there's also bits of like gray and silver as well that I feel represent that just as much. So in that case, it actually made sense for me to use this as the topper of choice. So same disclaimer applies, use this sparingly. Like this one, a little bit goes a very long way. And yeah, so it's, the end result here is that it's not as like in your face gold as say the one here that I did for the planets is, but I look at this and I feel Lemonade. I feel like you get these little pops of gold that are in there and it just feels like glitzy. This is a combination that I would never, I swear y'all, I never would have thought to put these polishes together like this, but this end result here is one that I would absolutely wear, where it's also one that I think gives a nice space vibe, which in that case could also apply to like her Renaissance album, like her song Alien Superstar. But this is really what, if you all are looking to do this exercise yourself, this is the kind of stuff that I hope that you are gonna get from this as well. Like, yeah, you're going into it with the intention of representing a particular album cover, but then you end up with something where you're just like, I don't necessarily need to keep buying more stuff that comes out when I have all the ingredients at home to make something like this that is so gorgeous that I can use like my own stuff for. So yeah, I love this. Now I want to go listen to Lemonade. The next one is another classical album. This is a recording of Shostakovich's Symphony No. 10 and his Ballet Suite No. 4 by the Scottish National Orchestra. Okay, so my number one favorite classical composer is Rachmaninoff. Shostakovich is number 2, but he's I love his stuff too, so much. And so this particular album, you have all of the emotions that come through in his 10th symphony, but then also Ballet Suite No. 4 shows up, and oftentimes there's like these add-on pieces where people are like, oh, I was here for the symphony, I guess I'll do the Ballet Suite too. I actually, like, my favorite track off of this recording is the first movement of Ballet Suite No. 4. It can stand on its own as that piece. It will take you on a journey. And the last thing I'll say about it, so I don't keep gushing over this forever, is that Ballet Suite No. 4 is one of, I think, the few pieces of classical music that are in my top favorites that I have not yet had the chance to hear perform live. So I'm on a search for that. That is one that, the day when I get to hear that perform live, I'm just going to be in tears. So anyway, the album cover has this artwork on it that I couldn't find out who the artist was. It looks like it might be Kandinsky. I don't know for sure, but to me it evokes this very like the kind of colorful aesthetic of the 60s, and that's what I wanted to represent in the layering combination for nail polish. So the color that I chose for the base here is this mustard yellow cream from Essie called Buzzworthy Bash, which I recently used in another video, and I was like, buzz. So I don't know why. Every time I use this one, I just have to make some weird B sound. Okay, and then, so I looked at beyond that base color, I wanted to also bring in some kind of element of the white that's in there. Without it being too much of a distractor. Like I didn't want to put in like white flakes necessarily, because I wanted a lot of white, but not that much, if that makes sense. So I already was using Familiar Polish's Snowfall for another layering combo, the La La Land one. So I'm like, why not? Let's use it again. And this works so well. I actually used to have a dress that was this exact color, and it had white polka dots on it like this. This was way back in like, I think 2019, long before I ever got into nail polish. I don't even know where that dress is anymore, but if I had been into nail polish back then, I absolutely would have worn this as a combination for sure. So while that's drying, I'll say the last part that I wanted to bring in for this, this was a pretty straightforward one. I wanted to also put in some kind of element of red, and in a way that I feel like spoke not only to the album cover, but also a little bit of like the fire that I know comes through in Shostakovich's music. And it was a no-brainer for me to bring out Spectrum Cosmetics Slay. This is a red flake topper. And with this and the way that I'll show you that I put it on here, part of why I think this works so well is that the flake density here is very low compared to some other flake toppers where, you know, you do one swipe and suddenly it's like, whoa, there's a whole forest on my nails now. This is a lot more sparse, and that is one of the reasons why I love it. So let me show y'all. So this to me, it's just like, you see how like in that artwork on the album cover, there's like all these angles and these like shapes and triangles and stuff. That's a big part of what I'm getting here with Slay, but then also it just feels like fire. It just feels like strength and just everything. So I could see myself wearing this Essie polish together with the Snowfall topper just on its own and just ending it there. But I could also see myself kicking it up a notch and adding in Slay, which once again is a combination that I never would have considered prior to planning out this video. I just really like how also too, like the red color of the flakes and the yellow of the Essie polish Buzzworthy Bash, they just play so well together and give that kind of like 60s aesthetic that I was talking about from the album cover. But then also you have the white that's breaking it up there in a way that I think is needed to give a little bit more visual interest than if I were to have just put down Buzzworthy Bash and then put Slay on top of that. Last thing I'll say about this one that I've mentioned many times before on this channel, but I think that bears repeating here. When you are doing these kinds of layering combinations, I feel that it's important to consider not just which polishes you're choosing to layer, but also the order in which you're choosing to combine them. So in this case, what I decided to do was to put down Snowfall first, because with the vision that I had in mind for this, I was okay if some of the red flakes covered up the white glitter, as you know, you can see that is going on here. But I don't think I would have liked the end result as much if it had been the case that I put down Buzzworthy Bash first, then Slay, and then finish up with Snowfall on top of that. I didn't want to see any white glitter on top of the red flakes. So it's a really subtle thing where, like, you know, most people who see your nails are never going to know the difference, but you will know the difference. And so if you're unsure as to which option would be better for you, that's a big part of why swatching out your options before you put them on your nail can be really helpful, to see like, oh, this is gonna be more in line with what I'm envisioning. So once again, another one that I cannot wait to wear. The next album that I chose is Starboy by The Weeknd. I got the chance to see him in concert for the first time last summer, I think. Yeah, and I've got to say, he is one of the artists that I consider to somehow sound even better live than he does on the record. And you know, the other thing too, he had all this like elaborate staging and stuff, and I was thinking, okay, at some point will I understand what the concept is? Nope. Didn't understand. There was stuff going on. I'm like, you know, I'm just here for vibes, here for The Weeknd. It's great. So, and yeah, Starboy is my favorite Weeknd album. I just love the color of this album cover. Oh, it is just so like dark and just bold. And I knew that I had at least one color or one polish in my collection that would be a good fit for it. And I chose this one from Ice Cream Nails, little ice cream. This is Hot and Spicy. Unfortunately, this is no longer available because Ice Cream Nails either like shut down or will be rebranding, something like that. But if you are looking for this kind of color cream polish and don't already have one in your collection, a very similar one that is still available is this one from Color Club called Blaze. So you can see just how similar those are. I would say that Blaze on the right is ever so slightly verging into like neon territory, but if you're looking for something that's like this and pretty close, I would say go with that one. Okay, so this is what I chose for the background here because that's the primary background color of the album cover. And I knew that I wanted to represent the blue in there somewhere. I struggle with this because I wanted to bring in blue, but not in a way that would cover up so much of this coral background color to make it so that you no longer saw that or recognized it anymore. I thought about putting on like a blue flake topper, but then it just felt a little too busy for me. So what I ultimately decided to do was to go for a blue shimmer topper instead. And this one that I'm using today is Fancy Gloss's Let It Glow Blue. And here's how that looks. I'm just so happy with the results of all these. Like it was I always have fun planning out the videos that I make here on this channel, but this one especially because it was very personal for me to see like, oh yeah, I absolutely love these combinations that I'm coming up with. And then I thought, well, you know, another benefit is that you all get to learn a little bit more about me and the kind of music I listen to, which, as you're seeing, is all over the place. So this I feel is giving me still that coral base color, but then in a way that it's still like it's blue without being like too busy. And for the final piece of this, I wanted to bring in some kind of sparkle. So same thing I mentioned before when I was talking about, I think the Lemonade album cover layering. I thought about using a gold reflective glitter topper like Starly's Golden Starlight, but this does have the drawback of bringing in additional visual texture that I didn't want to have. I wanted gold and I wanted sparkle. So I went with this gold this gold scattered hollow topper. Words are hard, especially when I haven't been filming in a while, from Cracked, called Make It Pretty. By the way, if you happen to miss out on Truly Outrageous, which is no longer available, Make It Pretty is a very good alternative that is part of their permanent collection. So I highly recommend this one. And okay, Okay. So what I love about this is that, you know, you get that gold sparkle, but then also like it feels like stars. You know, we're talking about Starboy. So you see, like I said, you know, I am not subtle. Sometimes I'm just very on the nose here. And there you have it. I mean, this is one that I can, a combination I can absolutely see myself wearing as we get into the warmer spring and summer months. And this is done in a way where you just, I think of the album cover when I see this, but then I also think this could absolutely stand on its own. The next one is Fiona Apple's When the Pawn, and I will not recite the full title of that album. It's long. This was an album that once again, it just reminds me of my undergrad years, and I was like, okay, I'll just call myself out on this and be like, this is the album that even when I was not even close to like dating anybody, I would put this album on and be like, I'm mad at you, you know, like I'm just mad at some random person. So my favorite song from that album is Get Gone. I was just like, get gone, like who am I telling to get gone? Nobody, but it was a vibe. So I'm starting with one coat of cracked polishes, Crimson Ecstasy, much for the same reason that I mentioned in the beginning with my current manicure, like giving just a little bit of opacity as a foundational step there. And on top of that, because this album cover, like this is probably the one that as I was planning out this video, I just knew, like, oh yeah, this is absolutely what I'm gonna do. It is a very red album cover, and I knew I wanted to use Emily Damali's Fiery Attraction. So let me go ahead and put that on here. And so my Fiona Apple story that I'll tell is that if you're not familiar with Fiona, she is an artist who will very rarely put out music. She'll put out, it'll be like years that you'll go in between albums for her, but the wait is always worth it. But then that also means that she does not tour that often. So I knew when I had the chance to see her tour for her one of her most recent albums, I was like, this is my chance. So I went to see her, and you know, you go to a concert and typically the musicians will perform a couple songs. At some point though, early on, they will stop and make some banter and say, hey, Chicago, or whatever city they're in, you know, just kind of talk with you. Not Fiona though. Like watching her, it felt like we in the audience were just watching her own private like recital that she was having at her own home or something. She did not acknowledge us at all from what I can recall until the very end when she paused and looked out into the audience and was like, oh, hey, thank y'all for coming. It's like, okay, thanks, Fiona. So you can already see like this is just the exact red of that album. Now, I could stop here, but where's the fun in that? And also, I want this to be even more red. Now, typically, I would put on the DRK Magic Effect to give this a more crisp magnetic line, but y'all, it's been like, I think this is number 9. I've been here a while, so we're just gonna skip Magic Effect and go straight to the last part of this, which is a red reflective glitter topper that I used, that I made by just mixing up some glitter from Glitter Unique. I need to make some more. Like, you see how much of this I use? I'm not exaggerating when I say just how much I use this on stuff. Surprisingly, I did not put it on my current manicure, but I am gonna show you how adding it to Fiery Attraction can give even more of a nice red effect. And I just think, like, looking at the When the Pawn album cover and all the red that's there, adding in the red reflective glitter just, to me, makes it even better. And also just a note, because adding this coat of reflective glitter on top has re-wet the layer of polish that was underneath, I am gonna go back, or need to go back with what I'm doing here and remagnetize that. Okay. Should be just about done. I'm gonna need to magnetize the top coat as well, so I'm just gonna pause here to show you how this looks. And bam. Okay. This, you know, is okay. As much as I'm someone who loves magnetic nail polish and red nail polish, you all might be surprised to hear that I haven't been as much of a fan of Fiery Attraction as I thought I would be. And I think it's because I feel like it's missing something for me. Not to say, like, nothing against it for a polish on its own, but for my purposes, I feel like I need something more on it. And I think that now that I have seen the result of putting red reflective glitter on top of Fiery Attraction, this is absolutely the way that I'm going to wear this from now on. And yeah, while I am singing Fiona Apple, you know, it's funny, like, when you going back to what I mentioned about like singing those angry love songs when I was not even in any kind of relationship, then when you do get in like a healthy, happy relationship, and then you have those angry songs, and just like, I still love this song, but I am not angry. You know, it's a nice place to be. Okay, we've got one more. Last one. The final album that I've selected for this video is Zaba by Glass Animals. Years ago, I'd never heard of them, but then one night I was listening to an online radio station and heard their song Gooey, that's from the Zaba album, and I was just stopped in my tracks because it was just this like trippy kind of song that I never heard anything like it before. It was so moody and beautiful, and I then went and listened to their whole album, like, oh, the whole album is like this? Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, which I forget if I mentioned this in the beginning of the video, but I want to specify that I chose the albums in this video not based on my favorite album covers, but my favorite albums, and I'm using the covers for this. But I do really like the cover of Zaba. It's just, it relates a lot to this kind of like trippy vibe. If you've never heard their music before, just listen to Gooey and you'll see what I'm saying. But with that being said, this I felt was probably the most difficult one for me to come up with a concept for, because there's so many different colors. There's a lot of visual texture and shapes, and you know, you don't want to lose sight of the fact that you're doing this on the amount of space of a nail, so you don't really have that much space to work with. So sometimes less can be more. So here's what I decided to do. I started with a coat of black, Bee's Knees Lacquer Void, and then I pulled out a topper that is often too busy for me to wear on just a regular basis, but I felt it was going to do a lot of good stuff here. This is Emily DeMolly's Waiting for the Sun, which is this gold like squiggle-ish topper and shapes and stuff. That sentence, it was a sentence. So I've had this one for so long that I think this was actually before Emily DeMolly started using their fan brush as their like paddle brush as their main brush. Let me swipe this out on here. I think I need one more dip here. Okay. Now what I'm doing here is going to be like a magnetic polish on top of this, and so in a way where this Waiting for the Sun underneath is intentionally going to be showing through to some extent. So that's why I'm like okay with loading this up a little bit more heavily than I normally would with using this. Okay. And then I once again went through my untried polishes and came across this one. I'm like, why have I not worn this one yet? This is also from Emily DeMolly, called Once Forgotten. And just, okay, check this out. Just that, the switch up there, like, yes. Hopefully you can see the vision with where I'm going for this and why I chose this combination for Zaba. So let's go ahead and swatch this over, waiting for the sun. Now, I know I said earlier that I think the Radiohead Hail to the Thief album inspiration result was gonna be my favorite one. I think that's gonna be number 2, and this one right here is gonna be number 1 for reasons that you will see in just a moment once I remove this. So just gonna let this magnetize for a little bit. Okay, and that to me is Zaba. Just, you know, this the magnetic polish, once forgotten, it's not so sheer to the point where you're gonna see every single like you know, glitter piece that's underneath, and especially because it already has like a lot of flakes in it, right? But that's okay. This is the kind of combination that I love, because you know, you look at it from this angle and you think, okay, I see a dark black background, I see some iridescent green flakes, and I see a purple magnetic line. Cool. But then as your nail moves around, it starts to reveal even more secrets that are underneath there. I just totally love this. I mean, I am struggling to pick out which of these I'm gonna wear like next, but here's the thing. Now I've got 10 different combinations that I can refer back to when I tell myself I don't have anything to wear, I need to buy more nail polish. No, I don't. I've got this. But I probably still will buy stuff that's unique, but I still feel like this exercise has given me so many fantastic combinations that I never would have thought to put together. I had such a great time putting these combinations together, and just, you know, something that struck me as I was filming the other lighting clip downstairs just now was how different these all are from each other, and how there's such variety in the options that I chose. And like I said, as I was swatching out the last one, I chose these options, or I chose these albums because they are my favorite albums music-wise, not necessarily because these are my favorite album covers, but I think that because I chose them not for how much I enjoyed the covers, that lent itself to this additional variety that was in there for me to see, like, okay, I love all of these, I love all the music, but the album covers are so different from one another, and that means I get to do really cool and different things that I didn't think that I would be doing. So I hope that this video was helpful and inspirational for any of you who find yourself in feeling a little bit let down with the polish pickup offerings for this month, and especially if you are wanting to stick to a low buy or a no buy. Shop your own collection first. Take some time to think about what your favorite albums are and see which polishes you can bring together to represent them in a way that's going to be your own interpretation of them. And quite frankly, I think that when it's something that is your own creation, it can most likely feel even more special and personal to you than if you were to buy a polish that is someone else's representation of it sometimes. So I would love to hear if any of these albums are ones that are in the top albums for you all, and if so, do you see yourself wearing these combinations? Also, let me know what some of your favorite albums are and what kind of combinations you might put together for them. Like I said in the beginning, it feels so good to be back, and I'm still far from being back to 100% usual health, but I have truly missed you all, and thank you once again for all of the well wishes, with wishing me good health and smooth recovery and all that. And yeah, so be on the lookout for some other fun videos coming up soon. Thank you all so much again for watching this video and being here on this channel, and look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye.